In this video, I'm going to show you how to make my childhood favorite dish, which seems to be many Thai people's favorite childhood dish. Mu Palo, also known as braised pork, Thai braised pork and egg. I remember my mom would just make so much for potlucks, and I would be the one in the kitchen to help her peel all those boiled eggs. What's different about my recipe versus what my mom used to make and other people's recipes that you may see is that they use squishy, soft tofu that absorbs all that liquid, and it's really delicious. But since I'm pregnant, I'm avoiding many foods. And the reason why I'm avoiding soy, now soy sauce and miso and natto and those fermented soys are fine because they're fermented. So it's going to help you absorb, the nutrients in that. But in general, soy, it should be avoided, especially during pregnancy, because one, most soy is genetically modified. Two, it inhibits mineral absorption due to the phytic acid in it. Three, it can impair protein absorption and digestion due to the anti-nutrients in them. Four, it's high in aluminum. And reason number five, soy is high in pesticide residue. Now, even if you get organic tofu, if that soy farm is close to a farm that's using pesticide spray, it can still go onto the organic soy via runoff or with wind. So that's why I'm not going to be putting soy in mine, or I'm not going to be putting tofu in my recipe. So let's dive right in. So we are going to mortar and pestle a bunch of cilantro stems. So I'm going to cut the stems off here. It's okay if you get some leaves. We're going to save the leaves for the rest of the dish. And then I'm just going to just roughly chop the stems up. Now in the mortar and pestle, I'm going to pound 6 garlic cloves, a half tablespoon of whole black peppercorns. You can use white peppercorns as well if you don't have black. And then the cilantro stems. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, which I recommend you do, this is an inexpensive, under $50, unpolished granite mortar and pestle from the Milk Street store. They have great quality products. I'll leave a link below. I'm absolutely not affiliated with them in any way. But if you don't have one, you can use a food processor. So we're just gonna pound this until it's like a fine paste. So that's done. I'm just gonna scoop the paste out, place it in a bowl. It smells so good. Okay, so we're gonna keep this aside. I've got 2 pounds of pasture-raised, boneless, country-style ribs. Now, these don't even come from the ribs. They actually come from the blade of the loin. So it's quite tender. If you don't have this, you could totally use pork shoulder as well. So these are already cut into slices, but what I'm going to do is cut them a little bit smaller into about 2 inches, 2 to 1.5 inches, and it being this thin. Yeah, so just make sure they're 1.5 to 2 inch chunks. And traditionally, mu palo is used with pork belly. So if you can get some pork belly, that would be even more amazing. Some people aren't a fan of how fatty it is, but I love that, but I can't find that here. So that's why I'm using some boneless country style ribs. So there you go. And to the pork, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of red mineral salt to the meat. And I'm just going to toss that. First step to cooking hard-boiled eggs is to cover the eggs with cold water. I've got about a dozen here. You can use as little as you'd like or as many as you'd like. I've got to get my egg on here and get my nutrients in. Once the water comes to a rapid boil, we're going to turn off the heat, cover the pot, and remove it from the heat. Now I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. So it's been 10 minutes. I've got a bowl of ice cold water, so make sure you have that ready. by the time your eggs are done. We're just going to put them all in, immerse them into this ice cold water. And allow these to cool before we peel them. So in a saucepan or a Dutch oven to accommodate, your eggs and your pork, I've got this on, I just turned it on to medium heat, and I'm going to add some palm sugar. This is what it looks like. My mom got it from Thailand. So palm sugar can come like this, or it can also come in like pods or pucks. And if you have it in pucks, you can just shave it just to get 3 tablespoons. If you don't have this, you can also use, they have coconut palm sugar like in a bag that they sell at the store now. You can totally get it at most stores. If you don't have that, you could also use brown sugar. So I'm going to put 3 tablespoons. Now to the pot, I'm just going to add a few tablespoons of water. So keep it on medium heat. We don't want the pot high because we don't want the sugar to burn. So the sugar is getting foamy. That's what we want. And now we're just going to continue to stir it until it's almost like dry, until the liquid has dissolved from the water that we added. Once I've got the sugar to caramelize, I'm going to add all of the pork right into the sugar. Now you really want to be patient here because we're trying to infuse all of that sugar into the pork. So stir it all up so the pork gets coated in the sugar. The heat is still on medium heat. Now I'm going to add the cilantro, garlic, and peppercorn mix right in there. Stir it all in. So after allowing a few minutes for all the fragrance to come out and get nice and happy, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of fish sauce. This is Red Boat fish sauce, such good quality fish sauce. 3 tablespoons of regular soy sauce. 2 cinnamon sticks. 3 whole star anise pods, right in there. And about 4 whole cloves. Now I'm just going to add enough water to cover the meat. Now I'm going to turn the heat up to bring the liquid to a boil. Once the liquid comes to a boil, I'm going to cover the pot and I'm going to reduce the heat to medium low and make sure you maintain the heat just to maintain a gentle simmer. And we're going to allow this to simmer for 50 minutes or until the pork is tender. While the stew is still simmering, and we're about halfway through from cooking it, I'm going to add our boiled egg. So they soak up all the good stuff. So the eggs are in. I'm going to continue to simmer it. So it's almost time to serve it up, and I tasted it and it needs another 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. So I'm just going to add it straight in there. Okay, I've cut the egg. I'm just going to pour a little more of that yummy liquid so it gets absorbed into the rice. Top it off with some cilantro. And there you go.